Hey everybody, Larry Capetto here. It is Thursday, January 30th, 2025. And just taking a moment to pause and reflect today. Folks, when there's a national disaster, catastrophe, tragedy, like we saw last night about 7 o'clock Mountain Time, over the Potomac River in Washington, D.C., an American Airlines CRJ, Canadian Regional Jet 700, was just about ready to land when a helicopter crashed into it. I don't know why the media is saying that the plane crashed into a helicopter. The media twists it. You can't go by what the fake news media says, even though I've seen some okay reporting, but you can't do it, man. And we're I guess we're fortunate to have some video. The video that I saw was the night video. Well, it was at night. All of it was night video, but I think it was the Earth Cam video where you can see that the helicopter came right up and crashed right into that plane. I couldn't believe it. If you had no reports, nobody's opinion, and you just watched that video, I think what you would see and say is that, why did that helicopter crash into that plane? It's like a 5th grade question or a 3rd grade question. You know, a very innocent question. Why did the helicopter crash into that plane? That's what happened, folks. That's number one, okay? Before I get into it, this can be a short video. I believe that he that is short of wind will be asked to preach again, okay? I'm out here at Kohl's. I'm in the Kohl's parking lot. I just returned a couple of Amazon packages. And I went to a chapel service earlier, and as I'm going and coming from these things, I'm very observant of people today, because I almost said a holy day. It's not a holy day, but you know what, folks? There needs to be a somberness, if there's such a word, a somberness about today. Do you agree with me? Do you feel the same way? We should be a little slower in our pace today, reflective of these bodies that are being recovered, thinking about the loved ones that are waiting for their loved ones to be recovered, family members waiting for their loved ones to be recovered. I'm mindful of that. I prayed for these families today that are waiting. That's my main prayer today. Those that have perished, they're gone. Hopefully they knew Jesus. Hopefully they're on the road to eternal life. But you never know, man. When something like that happens pretty instantly. I figure when that helicopter hit that plane, people that weren't killed on impact of that collision probably were in their seat belts, and they probably drowned in that water. Or if they were able to reach the surface, they probably froze to death quickly. But anyways, it's a tragedy. We need to pause and reflect. Can I get a witness? We need to pause and reflect today and be mindful of our brevity, the brevity of life, folks. Everybody's given their opinion now, and I don't know if I'm going to give my opinion. I'm going to give you my observation. I'm not a, quote, aviation expert. I don't think I need to be. When I watch some poor quality video of a light of a helicopter, and you can tell he crashed right into that plane. Going pretty fast. You know what it reminded me of? Reminded me of a rocket attack or a missile attack, where you sight the target and you lock in on the target and you take the target out. And unless his throttle was stuck, you know, the pedal to the metal, unless he was full throttle and couldn't, for some reason, slow down, could he have turned the helicopter left, right, up, or down? You know, so it almost seems like it was intentional. I didn't say it was, but it just appears to be my observation, which would have been a terrorist attack from our own military. That just doesn't make sense. But President Trump, God bless him, man, he didn't take any crap off of the news media today. Did you watch that? He even told one reporter, "I'm surprised you would ask such a dumb question," basically what he said. And he avoided some of the other reporters. I think, you know what I came up with? I was doing a text to, voice to text message earlier to somebody, and I said press conference in Siri type pest conference, PEST. So I'm gonna borrow that. That was a pest conference. That's what I'm going to call it going forward. You can do that too. You can borrow that. That was a pest conference for Donald Trump. You know, if this would have happened under the Biden administration, Joe wouldn't have even showed up. Joe would have just given his condolences, which is fine. He never would have had a press conference. So God bless Donald Trump putting up with that BS. But he shut it off. Those people in that room, I hesitate to call them reporters. They're people who are probably educated. Do they have what's their degrees? What's the major in college for them? You know, stupidity, ignorance, nuisance. Maybe maybe they're PhDs in nuisance. Maybe there's a nuisance PhD. They acted really stupid, really immature. And I'm sure there are probably some good people in that room. But I would think Donald Trump would call them the good guys. You know, why invite all those people? Why invite all those pests into that conference? I don't understand. Do you understand that? I don't. I just see a room full of immature brats for the most part that are trying to trip up Donald Trump, trying to trip up the president with some words and then quote him or re-quote him. So, but back to this tragedy, folks. When these things happen, it takes a few hours, but it just starts to settle in. I heard it last night, and I started looking at it, and I was very troubled, very grieved. I knew all those people were gone. I mean, 35-degree water, impact, collision in the air, just barely above the water. I mean, they were in like waist deep, the water up to 8 feet. It wasn't that deep, but it's a river that's flowing. Now the debris field is widening, and probably there's bodies floating downstream. But folks, we need to pray for those families of those loved ones, those that perished. You know, that's my main prayer today. But again, the brevity of life, folks. I'm grieved. I'm grieved by people just coming and going like nothing ever happened. Now, maybe they don't know about it, which is, you give them the benefit of the doubt. But for those of us who've seen and know, I mean, when the fires in California were raging, I paused, man. I paused my life. You know, I have a prayer. I prayed to God, to the Lord. It's, Lord, at my inconvenience, I'm at your mercy. Lord, at my inconvenience, I'm at your mercy. Meaning, I'm interrupt my day, Lord. I'm at your mercy. Interrupt my day. Feel free to interrupt my day, Lord. I'm at your mercy. It's a sad day, okay? And when people die, I don't skip over the grief. I mourn, I grieve, I miss them, I cry. Some people are quick to jump over the grief into the joy of celebrating a life lived. And in time, okay, man, in time, but not right away. You know, and I'm going to say something else here. Those of you who know me, I'm not trying to turn anybody off or offend anybody, although when you speak the truth, sometimes people are offended. But some of you know I'm doing an exhaustive study on Christian burial versus the cremation that's going on today, and how it's just running rampant in our country. And there's reasons for that. But I want to say this. I was thinking today about, they're finding body parts. Why add insult to injury and cremate those remains? I mean, haven't those bodies been through enough trauma? The violent nature of a cremation, symbolic of the fires of hell. My thought is recover those bodies gracefully like they did in Vietnam. I interviewed one man, Gene Kelm, at Graves Registration. He worked in Graves Registration, where they identified the bodies, or the remains, the pieces of bodies, and they reverently prepared them to go back home. And most of those people probably, hopefully, were buried back in the 60s, early 70s. They buried the remains. Why make it worse by burning them up to where there's no trace of them? Folks, we need to honor those people that perished. And I'm going to make a plug for good old Christian Jewish burial. Bury those loved ones. They need to rest in peace. Do you agree with me? Think about that. You may be even someone who wants to be cremated. You know, I'm going to hopefully inject something here that will make you think about that. Those bodies, the remains of those bodies, folks, they need to rest in peace. They've been through enough. That collision over DC yesterday was so tragic, so violent. Why add insult to injury and cremate those remains? So let's hope and pray for that. They'll bury them so they'll be at peace and they'll rest. Amen, folks. I hope that didn't turn some of you off. You need to listen to some of this. It makes total sense. And I have a whole bunch of teachings. I have a new YouTube channel. It's called Bury Me, and it goes into the history of cremation and, of course, the traditional history of burial, which was all throughout the Bible to the mid-1800s, when some atheistic, agnostic, deist, nominal Christian thinkers decided it's okay to cremate a human corpse. So that's all I'm going to say to that, but I'll plug my YouTube channel, Bury Me. So back to this matter at hand, folks. Thank you for watching this video. Share it. I think it makes a lot of sense. I'm sitting here reflecting. Hopefully I said everything I wanted to say, but you know, they call it an accident. It probably was. Hopefully it was, but if it wasn't intentional, which I hope it wasn't, I really don't. That opened up a whole new world of possibilities in the future for such incidents. But an accident. The guy saw him on the radar. He heard ATC, air traffic control. He visually could see them, even if he had night vision. There's 3 people in that helicopter. It's like, hey man, there's a plane up there, like you're driving down the road. Hey, there's a car. Better slow down. Better stop. That, I just saw the word ram. It looked like that helicopter rammed that airplane. Didn't it look like that? Seriously, didn't it look like that? That helicopter rammed that airplane? He was definitely going fast. You could see him just, bam, just smacked right into the side or the back of that plane. And I mean, come on, seeing is believing, right? Did you see that? Unless we were misled by that video. That they show it 1,000 times every hour now. That helicopter ran into that plane. Now, okay, so you think, okay, he didn't see him. He didn't see him. They were talking to him. The air traffic controller said, do you see the CRJ? Do you see the CRJ? I don't know what the helicopter pilot said. 30, 60 seconds before, surely that helicopter has sophisticated instruments to see something like that. They can see, you know, when you're driving down the road, there's a car there, there's a car there. I don't need radar. I visually can see that. What's nighttime? Okay, but the weather was clear, you know, CAVU, they say clear air visibility, unlimited, or severe clear, even though it was night. Those are terms that pilots use on a clear day. So what, he didn't see him? So let's give the helicopter pilot and crew the benefit of the doubt. They're all looking over here. They're all looking over here, and they're hearing the transmissions, or maybe they didn't hear. Let's say they didn't hear the transmissions, and they look up, boom. I guess that could happen. Chances of that are pretty slim. You know, professional pilots and air crew in that helicopter, that Blackhawk helicopter, UH-60 helicopter. So what else? Help me think here. He didn't see him. He didn't slow down in time. His throttle was stuck. I mean, these are possibilities, right? They were all looking the other way. They had their eyes closed. They're playing blind man's bluff on that helicopter. I mean, come on, folks, really. And it had plenty of time to see that plane. That's what gets me. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, there's a plane, bam. No, the plane was landing on a set course, a flight path that they take 800 times a day on that runway 1 at DCA at Reagan National Airport. Busiest runway in the country. Help me think here, folks. The jet, I think, was just doing its thing. I think could they have swerved out of the way? I doubt it. You know, they shouldn't have had to. They're landing. You know, you've flown on a plane. You're 5-10 seconds from landing. You're getting ready. Boom, you're down. And boom, you know, that helicopter hit. And oh my God. Oh my gosh. So help me figure that out. Was it an accident? Probably, hopefully. Could it have been intentional? By that video, I'd say definitely yes. I think President Trump even knows that. He said something's wrong here. He didn't come out today and say that, but they're going to investigate quickly. He's not going to wait 3 years for the NTSB because, you know, it's under his jurisdiction now. They're not going to wait for a 3-year report. They're going to do this in 3 weeks or 3 days or 3 hours. They're going to determine what happened. They're going to go to the Army and say, what happened? Show me these guys. Give me their records. Who are they? What are they? Any ties to this, that, or the other? And would there have been any reason to collide with that airplane on purpose? That's what they're going to do. That's what Donald Trump's doing with all his people right now. He's not like Joe Biden sitting around, going to the beach, going on vacation, doing whatever, and nobody of responsibility. Oh, oy vey, as my mom would say, oy vey, oy vey. But so I want to know what happened. I'm into prevention. With any accident in life, anything I can prevent, I want to prevent. Was this preventable? Absolutely. So what happened? I don't know. Again, if they didn't have that video, we wouldn't really know. They're going to have the black box. What's that going to say? I don't think we're going to hear a whole lot out of that. The pilot of the plane probably didn't know what happened. Probably won't be any conversation with him other than landing, what he said when he was landing, between him and the tower. So, okay, I'm going to end for now, but I just want you to help me think. Did I make any sense? Send a comment. Let's get a comment going on this God's Underground. This is where I'm going to post this on God's Underground. So give me a comment or two, and let me hear from you. And let's see if we can talk about this, because we need to talk about it. I need to talk about it. It's good therapy for me to turn this camera on, talk about it, help me get my thoughts out. And I just think it's so important. We need to know, well, what happened? What happened when that helicopter hit that airplane like that? At that fast speed, at that same altitude, at that same time, with all the radar equipment, most sophisticated radar equipment that man has today on the jet and on the plane, on the helicopter. People of sound mind looking, watching. This is restricted airspace, by the way. I wanted to share that. Restricted airspace because of the Capitol and the distance and the White House and the Pentagon. So it's restricted airspace, okay? You just don't fly in there. So everything's going like it should be, but very busy airspace. I don't know why the military has to do operations near a commercial airport. But anyways, they'll probably stop that now. They can't take the airport away, but they can maybe move the military base around. So, and we need the military in that area, of course, because it's Washington, D.C. But it's restricted airspace. Again, I compare it to driving. I'm driving down the road 75 miles an hour. You should be very alert, aware of situations, surroundings, left, right, mirror, rear view mirror. There's 2 side view mirrors. You got your eyeballs, you got your sensors on your car, maybe your radar, as it were, and you proceed forward. And there was time for that helicopter. You could see that. Did you watch that? There was time for that helicopter to get out of the way, to move out of the way, and it didn't. Maybe the pilots, maybe they all passed out. I don't know. That sounds silly and foolish, but what else could it be? They hit it intentionally, or they just didn't see it, or the throttle was stuck. They couldn't stop it, in which case they would have maneuvered down, up, left. A helicopter can maneuver, man. Come on. And it was going fast. It had no signs of slowing down. So, but it'll be interesting to see what Donald Trump and his administration and his new transportation secretary and NTSB and everybody else comes up with. So let me hear from you. God bless you. Thank you for listening to me. I appreciate it. And I'll talk to you soon.